Thank you, Patrick, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to this regular meeting of Walpole's Board of Selectmen. It's after 7 o'clock, so I call the meeting to order. As we always do, we're going to stand and cite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So our first appointment this evening is C. Scott's seeking a common vittler's license. I think we have Mr. Ibrahim here. Yep. Yes, could you come over to the mic, please? Welcome. Thanks for coming here tonight. Perhaps you could just tell us a little bit about what the project is. And
we just added two tables with high tables and little table, and then 8 chairs.
Mm-hmm.
And then we obviously we're not serving alcohol because we're not allowed to serve alcohol.
Right.
Just sandwiches and soda.
So you're just adding a couple of tables in the facility. Well, it looks good to me, and glad to see your business is flourishing. And you can add the tables. So,
Yeah.
Any questions for Mr. Ibrahim?
Nope.
Okay.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion to approve the request to grant C. Scott's Victualer's license and that no wine or malt may be consumed on premises as they hold an off-premises license.
I'll second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstained, 3-0-0. Thanks very much and good luck.
Good luck.
Appreciate you coming in. All right, next up we have Karen Thiele seeking appointment to the Board of Health as an associate member. Karen, would you also come and join us at the mic? We always like to have people such as yourself come in and just talk very briefly about yourself and why you want to be on the board, and it gives us a chance to thank you for volunteering as well. So why don't you just take a moment to talk about why you want to be on the board.
Well, I'm a long-time nurse. I currently teach public health nursing at Simmons University in Boston, and this just seemed to be a natural extension of what I do for my job, and I thought I'd volunteer for the community.
Well, certainly looking at your resume and so forth, your qualifications are extraordinary, and you've got a lot of publications and things like that, so it's really well done, and wanted to thank you personally for volunteering. Any questions for Karen?
No. I'll make a motion to appoint Karen Thiele to the Board of Health as an associate member.
I'll second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 3-0-0. Thanks very much,
Thank you.
Karen. Cindy will be in touch with you with some paperwork that you'll have to complete and so forth. She'll walk you through that process, okay? Terrific. Thank you again. All right, next we've got Bernima Rangarathan as the Democratic member for the Board of Registrars. Good evening. How are you?
I've been in town for 22 years, and I just wanted to give back in some way. So I thought this would make a great fit but I know most of the town folks, so I thought it would be a great way to give back.
Great. Well, thank you for volunteering.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
No.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to appoint Bernima as the Democratic member of the Board of Registrars.
Thank you.
And I'll second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 3-0-0. Thanks very much. Cindy, is there any follow-up?
Yeah, I'll send her paperwork.
Perfect, okay, thank you. Okay, next on our appointments is we have some interviews to hire 2 firefighters. This is actually one of the really interesting things that I think we get to do as a board, as fire commissioners, to be able to work with our chiefs and make sure that we've got people that are talented and coming into the town and bringing fresh ideas and all that. And we've got a couple of really terrific candidates tonight. So what we're going to do is ask each of you individually to come up and just talk a little bit about yourselves and your background, give us a chance to talk to you and get to know you a little bit, and then we'll vote. So if we could start with Ryan Miller, please. Hi, Ryan. How are you?
How about yourself?
Very good, thanks.
A little about myself.
That'd be great.
I'm coming from a fire service in Maryland. A little bit of a larger service there. I was a little reluctant to leave, but family health brought us north, and my wife is from Walpole, as this is her family. And the dream job came up that the Walpole Fire Department was open. So one thing led to the next, and you find me standing here and happy to be here. The service I come from, we use counties in the south, not towns. We're 500 square miles compared to Walpole's 50. And I come from the busiest ambulance in the country. We ran 18,000 calls last year with just my ambulance. So it's about 20 calls a shift. So it's rather tough, but I think I've seen a lot and experienced a lot, and it has certainly broadened my scope in which I can operate. So I'm looking forward to moving forward and hopefully becoming part of the Walpole team.
Well, I was fascinated to read that you were on the busiest ambulance, not in the state of Maryland, but in the country.
Sir.
And what were the numbers again?
As a county, the county runs 147,000 calls for service a year.
Wow.
The ambulance I was on ran 18,000 calls last year. So it's a lot. We have 2 ambulances in our station, but the primary ambulance ran 18,000. It's a large number. It's almost a nonstop shift. When you work your 24-hour shift, you are working full 24. So.
Wow. Well, we're not quite that busy, but nonetheless,
That's
just as important.
Sure.
You know, every
Of course.
run is equally important, so.
I welcome the a little less call volume. That would
Great.
be great for me. But
Questions for Ryan?
I just ask one question. Other than the number of calls, is there anything, I understand there's a difference between county and
Sir.
town. Did you see any other differences in your process, talking to Walpole?
yes, being a larger system down there, the bureaucratic side can be a little murky water. It's rather difficult to have paperwork filed and documents taken from office to office, and it's been a breeze with Walpole. It's all one building, and it's a welcome change. Everyone works well in the town. So,
Great, thank you.
yes, sir.
Dave?
Yeah, certainly pleased to have you. It's certainly, with that kind of call volume, it's probably like worth 10 years of service versus this.
It certainly felt like it. 2.5, 3 years felt like a lifetime.
And you might be able to get to some sleep once in a while.
It's amazing what can become your norm, but it does. And with the paramedic program that I'm entered in here, it will allow me time to pursue that and get that squared away as well.
Excellent. We appreciate your advanced training too.
Sure.
Thank you.
Terrific. Well, thank you again for being a candidate here tonight. Your background is extraordinary. We're really pleased to have you. Do you want to offer a motion for?
Sure, I'll make a motion to appoint Ryan Miller as a Walpole firefighter, paramedic, conditional upon successful completion of all pre-employment testing, starting at a step 1.
And I'll second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
300. Welcome to the team.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Great, thanks. And now Brian Mulford. Brian.
Hi, good afternoon. My name's Brian Mulford. I live with my wife Heather in Canton and our dog Ralph as well. I'm coming from a Army Reserve unit where I'm a firefighter in that unit. I joined the Army Reserve about 5 years ago. After basic training, we went to the Department of Defense Fire Academy. That was in San Angelo, Texas. So I spent about 3 months down there all summer long in the hot sun doing firefighting training, but it was a great academy over there. Over the past 2 years, I've been on a active duty mission for my unit. We are a urban search and rescue and a hazmat environment response team. It was primarily put into place after 9/11 for if that sort of thing would ever happen again. We would deploy anywhere into the intercontinental U.S. As a team to help mitigate that. I gained my EMT basic about 3 years ago, and I am set to complete my paramedic program in November. After that, it's a little ride time, and then I'll have that as well.
Well, that's terrific. Again, you have a fabulous background and resume as well.
Thank you, sir.
I'm fascinated by the completing basic combat training and firefighter training at the same time.
Yeah, it's
That's
back to
impressive.
back.
Yeah, good.
You go from Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, drive, get on a van, go down to Texas, back to back. So it's a good experience. But yeah, we also had the ability to go mostly through the Army Reserve. I had a lot of extra training. I've been able to get my hazmat technician down in Orlando. We've gone to the Florida State Fire College for 3.5 months for that mission I just talked about, to get a bunch of tech certs. We've also gone to the Connecticut Fire Academy. So pretty much through the Army Reserve, I've been able to get a lot of really great training. We've worked with Miami-Dade Fire Department at a mass casualty simulation at a raceway, and even with FDNY in Times Square for a subway rescue training mission.
That's terrific. And I think you're currently, I know you said it, but you're currently enrolled at Massasoit in the paramedic program. And when are you graduating that program?
I graduate in November.
Yeah.
I finish my classroom and clinical time November 16th, and then I have to do my ride time after that, and then I can test out. So should be within 3 or 4 months of completion of the class time.
Well, thank you. Questions for Brian?
No, I'm good. I'll make a motion to appoint Brian Mulford as a Walpole firefighter paramedic, conditional upon successful completion of all pre-employment testing, starting at a step 1.
I'll second. Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
300. Congratulations. I wonder if I could now ask Chief Bailey to come up and present badges to both Ryan and Brian for the camera. So.
Go right over. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, congratulations and welcome.
You guys come up. Say
Come on
hello.
up. Hey.
Gentlemen. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Look forward to it.
Congratulations. Welcome.
Congratulations. Welcome.
Congratulations.
Thanks, sir. Congratulations. Welcome.
Congratulations.
It's all right. We'll take that out. We'll take that out in post. We'll edit that right out of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we gotta get those things worked on. Yeah.
All right, well, again, thank you and congratulations. Chief, thank you. These are great candidates and very, very pleased with the candidates you brought forward.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we're excited to getting them on board. They actually have some of their testing at the end of this week. We're scheduling one more test for them in the next week or two, and then we'll have them on board.
Perfect. Well done. Thanks, Chief. Okay.
And you're welcome to stay for the rest of our meeting, but you don't need to. You can leave anytime.
Go celebrate.
Okay, we're a little early for open forum, so I'm going to move ahead with new business and go through a couple of items. So, first one, we have a vote for request for live entertainment on August 31st, 2019, from 3 to 9.
Motion to approve the request for a live entertainment permit on August 31st from 3 to 9 p.m.
I'll second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
300. We'll just keep going, Mark.
Okay, motion to reappoint Timothy Joyce to the Veterans Committee as a resident at large member.
And I'll second. I don't believe Timothy is here, and I didn't think he was going to be able to make it, and that's totally fine. This is a reappointment, and just wanted to make sure we thank Timothy for his service and for being willing to be on the veteran service. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
300.
I'll make a motion to sign the animal control warrant.
I'll second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
300.
I'll make a motion in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 54, Section 12. The Board of Selectmen appoints the attached list of Democratic and Republican committee election officers.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
300.
I'll make a motion to award bid contract 2019-19 to DL Maher Company for a lump sum of $79,290.
And I'll second. Jim, you want to talk to us about that one?
Yeah, sure. Sidetrack there. Oh, this is our annual well treatment and chemicals for the water department. Rick and Patrick and Bernie, Marshall had worked together on this one, so I would recommend favorable action on that one. We reviewed them, we're comfortable with the company.
Great, thanks, Jim. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. 300.
I'll make a motion to award bid contract 2019-25 to Bright Light Electrical in the amount of $118,412.
Jim?
Yeah, once again, Rick had worked with Drew Hand and Maggie before our last day on this one. They were comfortable with it, they vetted the companies, and recommend favorable action.
A motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. 300.
I'll make a motion to approve the request to hold a walk run at Jarvis Farm on August 18th from 9 to 3 p.m., from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., subject to approval from the Sewer and Water Commission.
And I'll second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. 300.
I'll make a motion to authorize the chairman to sign the, well,
Why don't we
sorry,
do this?
sorry, I jumped
Yeah,
too
let's-
soon into the motion.
Let's, we'll pause there, because I do want to spend a moment on this one. And let's just get a sense, is there anybody here who's here for open forum? If you could just raise your hand. No? Okay. Then let's proceed. So this next piece of business we have is, we have a couple of 40Bs that have come before the town. And one of the things that we as a board need to do is solicit input from the various boards and committees and departments in town and put together a letter to the Mass Housing Finance Agency that offers our perspectives, our concerns, our suggestions as to, how these 40Bs may or may not proceed. It is in no way our approval or our recommendation or any of that. It's merely a matter of gathering facts from the various department heads and putting them into a letter. I'm not going to go read the whole letter. It's certainly it'll be in the office for anybody to come in and inspect. But I would just say that it covers a wide range of categories, from the neighborhood impacts, public safety, environmental and conservation, engineering and traffic, infrastructure for roadways and sidewalks, infrastructure for sewer and water, fire and emergency medical services protection, traffic safety, security and safety concerns, public considerations, school considerations, affordable housing status, the units, the number of units in the bedrooms, and future complex ownership. So it's quite comprehensive, and again, I'm not going to read through it, but wanted to make sure that those of you who are here and those of you who are watching understand what it is that we're about to discuss. Now, I know Ben Barrett, who's not here tonight, was kind enough to actually offer some input into the section which is consideration for affordable homes, which is section 12. And so I know that went out on Sunday night to our board, or Sunday afternoon, I guess, to our board. And so I wanted to make sure that we had some dialogue around the original letter in the packet and the one that has been updated for section 12 to see if there are any questions or additional considerations. I'd also like to discuss the letter more broadly too, in case any of the members of the board have any additional concerns or inputs or anything. So if I could just start with section 12, just to keep it straightforward. Any questions about the modifications that were offered by Ben?
I would just say that I'm good with the changes that Ben made. So don't really need to dig into the details.
Okay, and I'm good as well.
It's fine.
David? Okay. Any additional discussion on anything more broadly in either of these memos?
I would just reiterate something that you said, that When a 40B project comes into town, the Board of Selectmen does not have any real say in whether that project gets built. It's all handled at the state level. This is really the town department heads and us as selectmen. This is our really one chance to get comments in on ways we'd like to see that project adapted so that it works better for Walpole. And the state does take into consideration what we ask, but they don't necessarily do what we've asked. But at least we get a chance to give them a little bit of feedback. So the whole idea of the 40B program is the state has set up a program to help move development out into the suburbs, and they purposely designed it so that the individual towns don't have much say. Normally, if you were building a project, you would go through the planning board or the zoning board and get approved, and to a large degree, this allows developers to come in and build things with very little say from the town of Walpole. So I just wanted people watching on TV to understand that we have very little say, and this is really the only say that we do get, so.
David,
And just,
please.
and the other side of that is, until we meet a threshold of affordable housing, which is 10% of the entire housing stock, we are under this program. We will continue to have 40Bs come in, and we have appointed a board to try and get us some recommendations as to how we can get to that 10% so that we can avoid this in the future. But right now, we are pretty far behind. We need to, a lot of affordable units would need to be created before we met that threshold. So that's a long-term goal so that we can have more control over our destiny and our zoning and avoid the 40Bs. But it is something that we're working on and has been with renewed energy over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and that's well said, David. And I believe that committee is meeting down the hall as we speak and doing some really fine work. I also want to, again, thank Ben Barrett for spending the time to think through that affordable housing section to word that properly, making many of the points that David just made and others. And it is important that we get to our goal of 10%, or even exceed the goal of 10%, so that we control our own destiny, to use your words, David. So I want to congratulate and thank Ben. If he was here, we'd certainly do that. Want to make sure we do that. That board is doing a great job. I know Ben also met with members of that board to talk through that section and got their input. So I feel like we got good, strong input from all of boards, committees, departments, and so forth, and this is a well-written letter. So, Mark?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to authorize the chairman to sign the letter to Mass Housing with changes made by Mr. Barrett to item number 12.
Second, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. 300.
So that was for both letters,
That was just for the first letter.
2 Peach Street.
Want me to make a motion for the second one?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the same.
I'll make a motion to authorize the chairman to sign the letter to Mass Housing with the changes made by Mr. Barrett to item number 12.
Second, further discussion, all in favor, say aye. Aye. 300. All right, our last item under new business is a design and engineering service proposal for the Route 1A recreational facility from Weston and Sampson. Jim, do you want to take us through this?
Sure. This is just a follow-up on the discussion that your board had at your last meeting. Basically, we had to ask Weston and Sampson, after listening to what the board had to say, to go back, revise their proposal a bit. There was some back and forth, and they're proposing $42,000, more or less to supplement their current contract that the town has in place. I wasn't comfortable signing off on this without the board's approval because it is a substantial amount of money. Their overall contract amount was just around $600,000, but that included $160,000 for construction administration and to service the clerk of the works if and when the project gets funded. So I don't really want to touch that. They haven't been paid that portion at all.
Okay.
So this is to go back out, redesign it with the changes that the board voted on at your last meeting, which was the fields themselves, eliminate the playground, have the lights in there as an alternate, and do the gravel driveway. So,
Okay.
and to see it through the bidding process. And
And timing-wise, because I know we're looking ahead to town meeting and the warrant article that we're positioning. So what's the timing look like?
so a new bid due date is on or about August 15th, so we would have that in. I'm optimistic with that number. It could be a little bit delayed, but certainly before September 1st, so we would have about a month and a half to vet it with your board, finance committee, through the public process also.
Okay. David?
So, although I voted in the negative for how the design of this plan and what would be included and what is not, two of the people who voted affirmatively are not here. This is more of an administrative task on awarding a contract, and I don't feel that, given the timing of this thing, I'm not going to, I haven't decided whether we'll see what the design is to decide whether I'll oppose it later or not. But as far as awarding the contracting, hitting the timeline, because of vacations or unavailability, I'm not about to derail that. So I will vote in the affirmative for the awarding of the contract.
Thanks, David.
So I'll make a motion to authorize the town administrator to sign the proposal from Weston and Sampson for design and engineering services proposed for the Route 1A recreation facility.
And I'll second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
300.
Thank you.
Okay, on to the consent agenda. David?
I have a question.
Sure.
To go back. Where the affordable housing is supposed to be, from what I understand, I didn't get it, but I need it. Is there any information for us? Are we getting a registered letter?
So we can certainly provide you with a copy of the letter that we're sending to the Mass Housing Finance Agency. That's public information, easy to give you. We can give you that tonight if you'd like. And that lists the addresses of the proposed developments and so forth. Jim, we could also provide, I don't know if it's not with the letter, but we have the 40B proposals, some information, background information on the 40Bs as well, right?
What we could do, if you stop in and provide either myself and Cindy or Stacy at the end of, if you stop in and provide Stacy at the end of the hall in the selectman's office with your email, I could probably send you, I could send, tonight if you'd like, send you a few emails that specifies what the project is, what's being proposed. I don't know which location you're interested in, but I have to break it up over like 3 or 4 or 5 emails. It's pretty thick, so.
Stacy, you said?
Stacy at the end of the hall, yes.
Does that help?
Yes.
Great, okay, thanks. Yes.
It says here, you're having a vote tonight to authorize the chairman to sign?
Yes.
What if you vote no? Or do you just?
We
vote-
could not submit our input to the Mass Housing Finance Agency. I suppose we could choose to do that. That doesn't seem to be in the town's interest to do that. So we're choosing to submit all of the input and feedback that we got from the various boards, departments, committees that, cover those categories that I read through as we discussed the letter a few minutes ago. So our intent is to send the letter with our input. This is simply a vote to say, yeah, as a board, submit the input.
So you'll vote yes until you get to 10%, and then you'll kind of fight it.
You take them one at a time. We are voting 2 letters. We've already voted. So we voted 2 letters tonight with the input for both of the locations to submit into the Mass Housing Finance Agency, and those letters will go in immediately. We will then do the same thing for any subsequent proposals that come along.
So let me just point out that we're not voting to approve the project, because they're not asking us to approve the project. They don't need us to approve the project. We're just voting because they've met with department heads to give them feedback. So we're voting to give them a letter to tell them about parts of the project we do or don't like.
It's a done deal.
It's a done deal, but if you go and read the letter or give Jim your email,
We have a copy right
you
now.
could give us additional comments, and we can send another letter with any additional comments,
Which would go,
which would go to Mass,
oh, wait.
again, you know, we've been through the 40B process before, and sometimes the comments are helpful. I mean, we know they're helpful because we're sending them, but they are helpful to them to help modify the project a little bit to make it fit a little bit better. So I wouldn't say they're going to throw them away, but I'm not sure they're going to do what you asked. But it's worth sending that additional request in, and we've done that before on lots of these 40B projects.
So, if I may, so basically the letter says, we would prefer this did not happen, and these are the reasons why, and if you can modify the project in any way to address these concerns, we would appreciate it. And that's what the list of concerns is all about. And so Mass Housing gets to do whatever they want to do. So sometimes they'll tweak it a little, but sometimes they will just ignore. But we just voted to send the letter to explain to us what our local explain to them what our local concerns are.
So they don't have to abide by setbacks or height requirement?
Some of it, but not all of it. Density is one of them that they definitely can blow open, that they can have a lot more units than a regular, if they were just if they were not affordable, if they weren't in the 40B process, they would be limited in how much they could build. Here, they will be able to build more units than.
So he could go registrars if he wanted to?
I don't think it's that drastic, but they do
Well,
get
if he
some.
wanted
I don't think the state lets them go that. There's some expansion of things, but not like.
to. Setbacks and.
Yeah, but not, they couldn't build, I don't know that an 8-story tower in the residential zone is not happening, yeah. But multi-units, attached dwellings, those type of things will happen.
You know, I was exaggerating.
Yeah, no, I know, but just, they get to blow out some of the rules, but it doesn't.
One of the reasons that we're aggressively pursuing what we call the housing production plan, which we approved 2 or 3 months ago and submitted to the state and got approved by the state, is so that we can start to position ourselves in a little bit more of a defensible posture. 40Bs are very difficult to stop when you're under the 10% threshold. And by the way, affordable housing is not a bad idea by itself. I think affordable housing is important. So I don't want to make it sound like we're dead set against it, or at least I'm not. What matters is that we do it the correct way. And so our Affordable Housing Committee, which again is meeting down the hall right now, has been doing some just terrific work to put together that housing production plan, which this board reviewed multiple times over the last many months and voted last fall and got approved, I believe it was in January with the state. We're now in a position where we're now executing within that plan. So for example, if we are able to increase our affordable housing stock, I believe it's 10% in the next year, maybe it's next 2 years, that we get some safe harbor from some additional 40Bs. So it was very important for us to do that, and very important for that committee to do the work they did. It's also very important that Walpole have sufficient affordable housing. So all of these things need to be sort of mixed together and done in the most sensible and, best way for Walpole. Until we had that housing production plan, we were completely playing defense. And unfortunately, 40Bs such as these would come in. It is important for us to get to that 10% threshold, in total, and we'll get through over the next several years. But it's also important to have that housing production plan in place that builds in a couple of, I'll call them circuit breakers along the way, that slow down the inflow of the 40Bs and allow us to do it more planfully. Does that help?
Yeah, well, it's the neighbors now until you get to 10% that are gonna pay the price.
I agree, and it would have been good to have done this 10 years ago. We didn't do it. So we're doing it now, and
If they
so.
offer it to town employees, the affordable housing first? Or-
One of the things that we did is we put into the letter, and you'll see this, that Walpole residents get a preference for being able to purchase the affordable units. I don't know under the law if that's actually something that we can do. I don't know that the law allows for that, but we did put that in here in the letter, and you'll see that. Okay?
And what percentage are we at with the affordable housing?
7.8.
I think we're about 7% right now, so we're not a long way away, but we're not there yet. I've got to move us along now.
This man had his hand up earlier.
Yeah.
It's probably a very naive question.
Sure.
these two developments informed about the plans for these developments? How were we informed?
Jim?
Could, just so Cindy could get the record, sir, what's your name and
My
street,
name is Michael Murphy.
and street you live on?
I live on the corner of Doobie Street and High Main.
Okay, and sir, you, just for the record, just so Cindy could put it in the minutes, do you mind me asking your name and address?
You want my email?
No, name and street.
James Doyle, Victoria Circle.
Okay, so just to, sorry, and thank you. Just to get back to that, it will be done with a formal hearing process, a comprehensive review process with the Zoning Board of Appeals, which will likely take place in this room. This is just the preliminary stage. The developer notified the town that he intends on developing Doopy Street, and there's another one on Moose Hill Road. So that's, the board's considering both of them. The board, as the board's explained, has been asked for some comments and feedback from Mass Housing, which we provided to them, which essentially outlines the town's concerns. Traffic, density, impacts on the school department, neighborhoods, sidewalks, all those things you may think of. And I think we have a couple copies that would be available for you to take home tonight to review those two letters. So you're going to be notified as an abutter for that particular project when it is formally filed with the zoning board. It has not been filed yet. It's just been filed with the state. And they've asked the town for some input initially. My past experience with that, I'll be quite honest with you, they've taken these letters and they haven't done anything with them. They went back and they filed their permit with the town the same way it was submitted to the state. So that was for Burns Ave, the most recent one, about a 36-unit development down there. So if you'd like a copy of them, they're available.
Great. And thank you for that conversation, and hopefully you found the answers helpful. I'm going to move us along at this point to go on to our further business, okay?
And Stacy is down the hall right now, so, right? Oh, okay.
We'll give you a couple copies.
For Doobie or Moose Hill?
Those are both of them, so you should take, so thank you.
I have Doobie.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
He's not notified, never going
You don't get notified
Doobie.
about this. You get notified about.
When it comes before the zoning board.
This is just a letter. Okay, we're not.
Cindy has an extra copy, yeah.
So, but I was.
No, you can take it.
Make sure you get the right one.
frustrating.
Are you on Moose Hill?
Yeah.
Yep. Wish we could do it a little bit differently, but this is the way it operates with the state. so-
Utility surveys or surveys or whatever. That's fine.
You're on the microphone. Just wanted to let you know. I'm thinking of
Okay,
you.
well,
Thanks for being here.
You can go see Stacy, she'll make a copy of that for you, so that you can have it as well.
town engineer's
Cindy.
office about 3 months ago.
Let's see.
Yeah, mine had
I lived here longer than that.
They essentially really didn't know
Boy.
anything about it whatsoever. So then today, I come home from
How
work,
big of an area?
and this is sitting in my
I
door.
think he's talking 16.
And it's been highlighted by
If you go
obviously
down in the
somebody
hall,
that
there's
has
a book,
concern about
and she
this,
can
and
show
that's
you
the
that
only
in this
reason
plan.
that I'm here.
They have enough
But
of
yet,
them anyway.
you guys are saying
Okay?
Thank you. Thank you for coming in. We appreciate you being here.
Mass Housing Finance Agency, but there's no, I know it.
I think.
There is no citizen.
All right.
You leave your contact info down the end of the hall with Stacy. I'll make sure to get you, I
the
usually keep
consent
an email list for
Oh,
Yes.
specific projects.
You
I'll
wanna do
keep
the
you
consent
going
agenda?
forward.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Stacy at the end of the hall.
Thanks,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thanks for coming in. Okay.
This is the
All right, on to the consent agenda. David?
This is a consent agenda. These items will be heard as one motion,
Someone
and
highlighted.
one vote. Motion to accept gifts with gratitude from Donna Sherman to the Town Forest Committee, from Donna and Frank Anasti to the COA Fund, to J.T. Murphy Management in the amount of $1,100 to the COA Fund, from Peggy McLean to the COA Gift Fund, from David and Carol Bailey to the COA Gift Fund, from Jane Leslauer to the COA Gift Fund, from Joan and Bill Bonis to the COA Gift Fund, from Nancy and Robert Brooks to the COA Gift Fund, from Eileen Nee to the COA Gift Fund, and from Tim McLaughlin and family to the COA gift fund.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
300. Got some, oh, you got the 10.
So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of June 25th, 2019.
Second?
Yeah.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
No, I typed it too.
I'll make a motion to approve the executive session minutes of June 25th, 2019, but not release.
And I'll second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
300. Jim, Town Administrator's Report.
Sure, just a few items. The one top thing while I was away that came up was 1350 North Street. It was brought to my attention last Friday morning that the historic rock wall was taken down right at the curb of Bubbling Brook and North Street, and there was an illegal curb cut conducted by the site superintendent. I met with the owners of the site and the developers, along with their site superintendent and the president of the company that's overseeing the construction. First thing they did right off the bat was to admit to wrongdoing. They apologized. They explained that it was the actions of their site superintendent. He's since been removed from the site. And they immediately asked, what can we do to make this right? I said, what are you proposing here? They'd like to be allowed to put the rock wall back to the way it was. They weren't supposed to touch it. And they'd like to deal with this curb cut issue. They offered two solutions. They offered to put the curbing right back, put the sidewalk back right away. Another option, as we talked through the meeting, they offered to, which the police chief and building commissioner would prefer to do, the second option, which is to allow them to have this curb cut remain during construction. It's safer during getting out, so you're not just going right out onto North Street, you're going onto Bubbling Brook, and they offered to repair it at the end and make it whole. So right now, the site only allows for 2 curb cuts, and that's right on North Street. We're allowed to have a curb cut on Bubbling Brook just during construction, and then once it's gone. I think that's the safer route, but it's if the board's interested in that, they're totally willing to do it. I asked for some type of security to ensure that the wall is put back to a way that we're comfortable with. DPW, Rick Mattson, Chris Johnson up in engineering, and Drew Hand in Highway Department. They offered to mock up a 10-foot section of the wall prior to your Board of Selectmen's meeting on August 6th, so the town DPW officials, the selectmen can go out the weekend before, view the wall, make sure you're comfortable with it. We're also going to get a quote from a rock wall company that we worked with before for the cemetery department, so we know what the actual cost. They're going to offer up a bond for us to hold on to ensure that it's built back to the way that we'd like to have it built back to. They've also offered to have police details on site when deliveries are sent there and when they're going to have substantial traffic out back there, which something originally I wasn't even looking for, but I think it's a good solution to deal with some of the traffic there. So what I expect at the August 6th meeting is for town officials, myself, Rick, John Carmichael, Mike Yanovich, to present a recommendation to your board on the 6th. I've informed the developer, Maureen Mazzola, David Allen, and the site company to be prepared to come, talk to your board, explain that there was a mistake made. They're totally willing to do that. So if you're okay, I'd like to invite them in on the 6th and talk about it. Until then, they are shut down. They were authorized to do 3 things on site between now and the 6th, which one was to bring the fence back. The chief is concerned with the line of sight. In order to do that, they have to bring the grade up a bit at the street area, not the whole site, just at the street level, to move the fence back and to be able to construct that 10-foot section of rock wall for us to inspect. So those 3 things between now and the 6th. Until then, they're shut down. The building commissioner has some concerns, which going 2 weeks isn't going to be the end of the world. He was concerned about stormwater runoff, erosion control, and dust control, just to name a few. If we let that go much beyond 2 weeks, it may become a major issue for the neighborhoods there. So, if with the board's approval, I'd like to bring this back and have a formal recommendation and proposal for you to consider 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I think that makes a lot of sense. And I think we've got to make a point here that we have site plans, we have rules, we have regulations, and we expect the developers to follow them. And this wanton disregard for the site plan with respect to the curb cut, the wall, and who knows what else we got to make a point that that's not going to be acceptable to us, and we expect them to follow the rules. Any other comments to Jim on that one?
No, I agree. I like the idea of it coming back, so.
David?
And I mean, obviously, putting things back to the original condition is the minimum that they need to do, and we'll talk about the rest of it on the
The board
6th.
can levy the fines, so.
And we should talk about that, because I think there's something I think we need to show them we mean business, and it's not acceptable to just go and, wanton disregard for the rules.
Okay.
While we're on the topic, I know you were out, and happy vacation, and welcome back, Jim.
Thank you.
I do think that Patrick did a nice job of corralling the issue when it came up. There was quite a swirl that started with emails and other stuff, and Patrick grabbed it and said, look, let's get the right people involved, and let's meet on site, let's figure out what we need to do. He shut the thing down, and I think he did a nice job, so I just want to make sure I pass that along.
Thank you. I'll make sure he knows that.
Thanks.
Okay. Washington Short and Poly, that's another issue over the last couple of days that has come up. As your board knows, that's a very dangerous intersection. It's been highlighted the last several years as one of the top in the state. The chief and I have talked multiple times. Ideally, he'd like to see a light at that intersection. My concern is the cost associated with installing a light there. Just to give you some perspective, the light that was installed at Walmart where the Dunkin' Donuts and car washes cost roughly $750,000. I'm expecting that this light would probably cost close to $1 million. Prior to her last day last week, Maggie offered a solution. How about just installing a four-way traffic signal at that intersection? When I asked if she thought it would work, she said, yeah, but we should do a traffic study. And one of her last acts before leaving was to enlist the services of McMahon Associates, who's done traffic studies with us in the past for her office and for the planning board. So we're working on getting them in here to study it, to make sure a four-way traffic signal would work. Much more to come. You guys are the road commissioners on that, but before I offer that up as a formal proposal or solution or idea to address this, I want to make sure it works. So more to come. I just didn't want you to think we're sitting on our hands doing nothing.
How many
on
stop signs are at that intersection now?
Just two.
Two.
Yeah.
So if we turned it into a four-way stop, would that be some, like, middle of the road that would probably, it certainly solve some of the problem?
Yeah, and like the chief said, there's going to be people who are just not going to pay attention and go right through it. But I think it's a matter of getting people used to and conditioned that you come to that stop sign when you're going down Washington or coming up Washington, you're going to stop right there and wait your turn. And it's the hope that it'll cut down. And if it doesn't, we'll go with the more expensive solution.
I think that makes sense.
Certainly slows down speeds, even if there is a collision after a stop, at least people are. And the other side of it is coming south, some kind of warning sign that the stop sign is there, both of them, but maybe the lighted kind that says stop ahead, just crest of that hill. And I think that's the big problem with that intersection. And on this, looking north from that intersection, there's a sight issue with the slope.
Yeah.
And when people are at those speeds, they haven't been slowed down at all for a while, and they come to the top of that hill, and then all of a sudden there's someone in front of them. So
I think that's right. And, if we have to, do a little traffic enforcement out there and educate people.
The police department's totally willing to do that.
Okay, good.
Okay, Eastland Circle, again, at your last meeting, you may recall that I mentioned that we received a request from, I think there's 4 houses down on Eastland Circle to formally accept that as a town road. Again, prior to her last day, I asked Maggie to lay out some of the issues and that we would need to address. So with the board's blessing, I'd like to invite the residents who submitted that letter in at one of your August meetings, share this information with them so they're aware. And so the board can kind of talk through this, and if this is something you want to pursue, I kind of need to know sooner rather than later. I don't know if we have enough time to get on the fall. If you do decide to go forward with it, there's a lot of hoops to jump through for this one. So, but I think, they have requested it, and they've been patient, and I think it'd be the right thing to do to have them in and talk to them.
Yeah, I agree. I think we owe them their opportunity to come and talk about it. Who would represent us from engineering?
I'd probably have Rick and Chris Johnson in, who's the assistant engineer.
Okay.
Depending on what meeting it is, we may have Carl Baldoff, the new town engineer, in by then, so he'll be just getting up to speed. But
Yeah, right.
Rick and Chris are pretty well versed in this
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I'm certainly not opposed to receiving it if it's at the proper standard, but I think one of the preliminary items for the neighborhood is to figure out how much they're gonna have to raise to get it to that standard. And if they're able or are going to be able to do that. Otherwise, we wouldn't accept it until that standard has been finished. Is that correct? Or do we,
Yeah, yes, we're not supposed to accept it until then. There's been a couple of cases that I can think of that the roads weren't wide enough and we still accepted it anyways because the neighborhoods had pushed forward with it and had a citizen's petition on the warrant. Jack Fisher's old street, remember that one?
looks like there's several issues here
Yeah.
before they even,
Hawthorne, yeah, it was
Yeah.
the Hawthorne Ave, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one I'm thinking of a
Yeah.
few years ago.
all right.
So, okay, so I'll invite them in to one of the meetings in August. And lastly, building safety training. Last meeting I mentioned, the Virginia attacks on a municipal building. Chief Carmichael approached me. We've chosen 2 dates, so we're not totally closing town buildings, but he'd really like to do some type of training, so we're going to do it on Friday, August 26th and July, August 9th over at the library. And we're going to just kind of do a skeleton staffing from probably 9 to 12 those days in each office, just to make sure everybody's up to speed. We're also going to invite board members for not only your board, but, planning board, everyone who has a public meeting, because there could be someone here tonight who comes in and is not happy with the decision, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll make it available, and then maybe do a nightly one for other volunteers and people who can't make it, so in the future.
I think it's really great that we're going beyond the schools with the ALICE program, and I'm excited that we're going to be able to participate in ourselves, so thanks for doing that.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So that concludes our agenda for this evening, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. And I'll second that. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's 300. We're now adjourned.